How's it going? I'm Jamie with Reporters Roundtable, and I'm delirious because it's really dry in Denver and I'm tired. But I've got my buddy here from Crypto Coin Show. I'm gonna let you introduce yourself.
Thank you. Ashton, Addison, Crypto Coin Show.
He's the guy, the host. Yeah, I bet you recognize this face for sure. So I've got a couple questions I just want to run by you, get your 2 cents on it. And honestly, the whole point of this podcast is just to flip the script because you're usually not in the hot seat. You're the one that's asking the questions. So I'm gonna ask you a couple things here. So tell me, what's the biggest mistake you ever made working on a story or even in an interview since you do the podcast?
Okay, yeah. Well, coming right out of the gate with the hot questions here. Biggest mistake or fault, I think this might have happened once, but when they have embargoed news and you drop it accidentally, or your team, really, if you have a team, and then you're like, they send it out and you're like, well, the date's moved, but we didn't communicate that properly. Okay. And it's not the end of the world, hopefully. Yeah. If it's about a merger and acquisition, maybe, but yeah, that's definitely happened before.
Fair enough. Okay. So, this might be a little different in terms of relevancy for a podcast versus like a media outlet for a reporter, but would you say speed, nuance, or clicks wins the most in your newsroom?
I think in crypto, speed is definitely important, especially on X and social media. Not only people's attention span being so short, but like that so much news happens, and like people want to know news quickly, especially if it's some news that they're going to use to make decisions in the market. If you're writing a newsletter that's coming out every week, it's pretty much useless unless they're really high level zoomed out in the market. People are posting things the second, and using AI now especially too. Like there's news, distribute it out as quick as you can. And that will probably drive the clicks because people, they see that's where we can get it first. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about the agency side of things, right? Obviously, I'm an agency founder and you work at a podcast. So what's your pet peeves and the things that you'd like to see more of from agencies that are contacting you for their clients?
Agencies? Agency, it's a love-hate relationship with the content creators. And because usually the agency, they have decent amount of clients, they have a retainer, and they want to get a mixture of earned media as well as growth media, and trying to get the best deal for their clients and for themselves. Yeah. And the content creators also run a business as well, and they always trying to work you for free, and eventually there needs to be a give and take. It's an uphill battle, I think, for a lot of content creators that work with agencies. Yeah. That it's like, hey, the client's paying you, but we're doing all the work. Not all the work, but we're definitely doing something. Yeah. That's if you look at that in the relation of AI compute, there's a lot of tokens that need to be spent to be computed to produce video content, especially, and push that out. And there's a team behind that, and there's costs there, and they got to make sure there's a fair relationship between the agencies and the content creators.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. It's super important. Pay your content creators. Last question is, are you feeling bullish or bearish, and how's that coming across in the interviews that you're doing recently?
Even with the price of Bitcoin in the last month, in the beginning of 2026, coming down, it puts a hindrance on new investments, but there's so many ideas and new companies that are coming out, especially with AI, and with people able to create companies in their bedroom by themselves. People are running Claude code day and night, creating new ideas, and that combined with the fundamentals of institutions getting involved in blockchain and tokenization of the stock market, real-world assets, moving from money markets into private equity and into real estate, public companies. The fundamentals are there. I'm bullish majorly on the fundamentals, and I think looking at the price of Bitcoin or the top crypto assets, you really have to zoom out because this is what's happened every cycle since the beginning of Bitcoin. It has 50% drawdowns. Every time, it's new all-time highs and more interest and more adoption of the technology, importantly, this time by the big players. So you can't be bearish. maybe I'm bearish for the next month or two.
Yeah.
But like long term, how can you be bearish on this technology that's just starting to be adopted by the U.S. government? They still haven't bought Bitcoin. It's in their strategic reserve, but eventually they're going to pull the trigger in acquiring more Bitcoin. Yeah. Institutions are only acquiring more. They like to do it in silence as well. So there's so many good things happening in the industry.
100%.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. That's all I had for you, but I appreciate you.
Of course.
Thanks, Connor.